is right, fishes. We're back at it in Las Vegas, Nevada, where we go on and stay at the MGM Grand Hotel and Casino. Business seems to be blooming out here, and even though it seems like there's a lot more people than last time, this hotel is still running at 50% capacity. We got hooked up with a nice view on the 27th floor, all for $88 a night. The room was really clean, and it came with a mini fridge, a fully stocked mini fridge, but I recommend you guys bringing your own drinks, unless you hate money or don't mind paying premium prices for these drinks. After being in the pool all day, we started getting hungry, and what better place to keep your wife happy than taking her to Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen, located right in front of the Caesars Palace. Now, expect to pay about $100 a person, but that's not so bad considering you're paying for a great experience and some amazing food. I went and ordered the beef Wellington, which by far has been the best piece of meat I have ever had in my mouth. One bite of this, and I swear, guys, I started speaking in tongues, and Jesus was trying to tell me something, and that something was to try the sticky toffee pudding. Toffee pudding. I'm not too sure how to pronounce this. If you know how to pronounce this, then you are clearly better than me. Anyways, one spoonful of this had me like,
oh God, it's so good. So good. So good.
Now it's time to go on and get the kiddos nice and tired, and what better place to do that than the Circus Circus? Everything out here was fully functional and fully operating, and after spending a few hours here, it was time to go back to our hotel room and go on and let Dad go on and play some poker. Alright guys, so for this game we play at the MGM Grand, where the blinds are $1, $2, and the maximum buy-in is $300. I go on and I buy in for $1.50 because I'm poor and they didn't take EBT as a form of payment. So 75 big blinds is just gonna have to do. Anyways, take a second now to go on and click that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button as well, click that notification bell so you don't miss a video, and let's get to it. For this first hand of the night, I look down at pocket fives on the button. I make it $6 after one opponent limped, and our opponent on the small blind calls, our opponent on the big blind calls, our limping opponent calls, and we go 4 ways to a flop. The flop is deuce 8-7. Not a good flop for us. There's 2 cards above 5 on the board, and everybody else checks to me. I make a pretty standard C-bet of $10, which our opponent on the small blind folds, big blind folds, but our opponent who limped in, he decides to stick around, and we go heads up to see a turn. The turn is another 7. My opponent checks, and I fire off another bet of $10. Now I think this bet is pretty stupid, because not only does that price in my opponent to call with any 2 napkins, but it lets him know that I didn't hit this flop. It also lets him know that I didn't improve, and that I hate money, and that I'm willing to set it on fire. Anyways, of course, my opponent goes on and calls, and we go heads up to see a river. The river's a 3. My opponent checks, and I give up. I show my pocket 5s, and he turns over pocket 9s. He went ahead and he won the minimum on this hand, and well, nice hand, sir. Nice hand. For this next hand of the night, I look down at ace-king offsuit on the cutoff. Our opponent under the gun has put in a $4 straddle, which our opponent in the +1 has gladly called. Everyone else folds, and it comes back around to me, and ace-king is just way too much of a premium to just make a call. I go on and I rebump it up. I put $12 out there. Our small blind opponent folds. Our big blind opponent folds. Our straddler, he defends his straddle. Our +1 goes on and makes the call, and we go 3 ways to a flop. The flop is ace 5-5. We go on and we flop top pair with top kicker, and after both my opponents check to me, I go on and I put in a continuation bet of $18. Our opponent on the small blind, he lets it go. Our opponent on the big blind, he's a non-believer. He goes on and he pays off the $18, and we go heads up to see a turn. The turn is an 8. My opponent checks, and I go on and I check behind. Even though I do have top pair, top kicker, I mean that 5, I just get a little iffy on paired boards. And looking back to the pre-flop action, our opponent needed to pay $8 more to win a pot of around $36. He was getting a good price to call. He was priced in. So that 5 is definitely in his range. I know, anyways, I don't want to make the pot that big on a paired board like that. So I go on and I check, and we go heads up to see a river. The river's a queen. My opponent now decides to go on and slide a whole C note out there, $100, into a pot of about 70. Now it's time for me to go on and really rethink what happened in this hand. Sure, he could have hit 2-pair with that queen on the river, but, you know, the movie rounder says if you can't spot the sucker within 30 minutes of the game, you are the sucker. This guy was no sucker. This guy has been playing pretty solid, and I felt that if he actually did have ace-queen, he wouldn't limp the straddle on the under the gun. I think he would have raised it. That's why I ruled queen to be a pretty safe card. Anyways, the only thing that's been tickling my pickle is that 5 on the flop, which I really put in this guy's range. If he doesn't have a 5 and he does have an ace, he's probably thinking we're chopping anyway, so it's probably why he's overbetting. I make the call. I slide in my $100 and we are good. He goes on and he shows ace 9. He probably thought we were going to go on and chop it with that queen if indeed I also had an ace. But my kicker played and we go on and we take a pretty damn awesome pot. Hell freaking yeah. For this next hand of the night, I look down at the Kobe Bryant hand. Hell freaking yeah. Deuce 4. Hey, and if you're a big Kobe Bryant fan like myself, go on and check out this little tribute video I did. It's going to be right up here somewhere. It's a small tribute video where I went out and I just recorded some of my favorite and possibly the best murals out here in LA. So go on and check that out if you like art, if you like murals, if you like Kobe Bryant. Go show some love and don't forget to subscribe while you're at it. Back to poker. There's nothing much to report on this hand. I mean, every time I get deuce 4, I always try to bump it up, even though I know it's a shitty poker hand. But let me know what your favorite shitty poker hand is on the section below, because I know we all have a favorite shitty hand that we like to raise, that we like to just goof around with. So let me know what yours is on the comment section below. And yeah, back to this hand. I make it $12, 3 people call, and we're 4 ways to a flop. Ace, king, 9. We freaking miss absolutely everything. Not only that, our opponent in early position, he decides to fire off a $30 bet. And we got no option here then to fold. But it's okay. We'll get him next time, bud. We'll get him next time. For this next hand, I look down at pocket 8s on the big blind. Seems like the whole damn table has limped in, and it gets back around to me, and no sir, no limping. I go on and I bump it up to $12, which our opponent on the cutoff calls. And our opponent on the button calls, and we go 3 ways to see a flop. The flop is 4-7 deuce. Our pocket pair doesn't improve, but we do have an overpair to the whole flop, and we go on and put out a standard continuation bet of $18. Our opponent in the cutoff calls, our opponent on the button, he folds. We go heads up to see a turn. Now, I've been through many great moments, many great feelings in my life, including being in the delivery room, witnessing the birth of all my 4 children. But let me tell you what, guys, there's no greater feeling than when one card on the board matches both cards in your hand. Yes, sir, there's no greater feeling than when you have a set. We go on and we hit an 8 on the turn. How freaking cool is that? We're feeling great. We go on and we bet out a bet of $30. But apparently our opponent, he also loves this 8. Maybe more than I do. He goes on and he rips it up to $80. Fuck. I mean, I can't help and think that my opponent hit 5-6. I mean, it's totally in this guy's range. And by betting $80, that's not even a big bet. That gives me a good price to try to hit my implied outs. But I'm not ready to let this one go, guys. I go on and I make the call and we go heads up to see a river. We managed to not hit one of our implied outs on the river. As a matter of fact, it gets kind of worse. There's a jack. Oh, no flushes get there, but 9-10 does get there, which makes sense why he would have raised me on the turn if indeed he didn't have 5-6 already. I go on and I check. Hopefully my opponent also checks, but there's no checking from him. He goes on and he takes a good minute before he announces that he's all in. It's around $100, and now I got a decision to make. I really have to break down this hand, but I had been breaking it down ever since he raised me. Everything shoots for the sky that says this guy has a straight, but he could also be playing a set the same way. I mean, I even tell him that on the table.
You also could play a set like that.
That's all the reassurance I needed to go on and slide my chips in, indicating that I call, and my opponent turns over pocket 4s. I was kind of right. He did have a set. I was right this time, but I don't know if I think this was a good call. I might have overvalued my set. He could have very easily had a straight here, but is that me being just too tight and too paranoid, or was this a good call? Guys, let me know in the comment section below. Be nice about it though. For this next hand of the night, I look down at ace queen offsuit on the button. It's been folded around to the cutoff, who decides to bump it up to 10 bucks, and we all know we can't just call this. It's ace queen and we're on the button. We go on and we repop it to 30 bucks. Everyone folds except the original raiser, and we go heads up to see a flop. The flop is deuce 5-5. We go on and we miss everything, but our opponent does check, and we go on and put in another bet of 40 bucks. And that does it. We take it down with a simple continuation bet. Hell freaking yeah. All right, fishers, that's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Sorry these hands weren't that exciting, but the game wasn't that exciting. It was kind of slow, and I did ended up cashing out for 500 bucks, which was a $350 profit, which was great. It's always a good thing when you come up in the green. So until next time, guys, I don't know when that will be. Freaking casinos out here in LA have shut down again, so unless one of you fishes invites me over to a poker game, then I won't be able to play any poker games until the casinos are open again. So I'll leave you with that. Don't forget to click that thumbs up button. Don't forget to click subscribe, that notification bell, so you don't miss a video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.